All right, the countdown is over. The 2024 Game Awards starts now.
Welcome to the Game Awards 2024. Now, here's your host, the creator of the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Game Awards. I'm your host, Jeff Keighley. Moving on to the next award this fine night, we're going to check out the top sexual predator in video games. Here are the nominees. Dr. Disrespect, Ubisoft Executives, Blizzard, and Christopher Barrett. And tonight, the winner for top sexual predator in video games, Christopher Barrett. Now, unfortunately, Christopher Barrett couldn't be here with us tonight, so he left this video just for us. Check it out. Thanks, Jeff. And thank you guys at the 2004 Game Awards for voting for me for the top sexual predator in video games. It is an honor. I apologize I could not be there to shake your hand. I want to say how much of an honor, how hard it's been this year to be the top sexual predator at Bungie. I worked diligently to make sure that I made every woman in that company uncomfortable. From looking under their skirt, for flirting with them through text, asking to see their panties on the daily, it was truly dedication. I wanted to make sure that I made a climate at Bungie where we could all come together. That's right. I didn't want us to go and work off alone. I wanted us to come together. If we weren't coming together, we were not being a team at Bungie. Teams, in my opinion, come together. I wanted to make sure that every other company in the industry looked at Bungie and saw that we were the stickiest company, that we stuck right together. We were so close. I wanted to make sure that I made an environment where men felt free to be themselves with women, to truly bring equality to men and women, where men could be able to free themselves to the highest quality possible. In fact, I remember one time Joe was going around the office, pants down, willy in the air. He used to name it El Señor Pipí. And he would go around to be like, oh, my pipí likes tacos. I'm ready for taco nights, isn't that right, señorita? Taco night was very popular at Bungie. I just want to say that it is an honor to be the top sexual predator, and I look forward to my journey into other companies where I can help them come together, that they too be a company that sticks together and be one of the most stickiest companies that you've ever seen, as I make us come together. In the wise words of a man that I took inspiration from, if you really want to make sure that you build equality in the workplace, you just gotta reach down, just get right in there and grab her by the pussy. Thanks, Christopher Barrett, for that video. We're gonna have to move on. We got time. We gotta move on. We want to thank you guys for checking that out. We're gonna move on to the next awards after this break. We're gonna check out the top video game developer to fondle their balls. Stick to it. Scholars! Yes, scholars of the first sin, which is liking Destiny. We are back! That's right. I hope you guys, by the way, enjoyed the skit you just watched. A lot of you sound off on like my brutally honest review, and you're like, you love the skits. So I will try to do skits when they're tasteful, or when maybe tasteful is like the genius word to say. Whenever I feel like I can make it actually entertaining, and I thought it would be entertaining for this specific video. We're talking about Christopher Barrett, a name that you may be familiar with. He used to be an ex-developer leader in Bungie who was fired for a lot of sexual complaints, which I still do believe to be true. When you have like 8 or more women's coming out and saying, yeah, you did this, it's kind of hard to say. I don't know. But we have an update after like a year or so, whenever he got fired. I think it was last year he got fired. But here we are. Let's just read the headline from him. The past 9 months following my departure from Bungie have been very difficult and painful for me, as I have had to endure rampant speculation, unfounded attacks on my reputation, and innuendo about what happened behind the scenes that caused me to be fired after 25 years of loyal service. To women? Like, are you trying to loyally service women? I don't know what you're talking about here. I want to thank everyone who has been there for me. I'm eagerly waiting the opportunity to get the truth out there and to tell my side of the story. And now is that time. Today, I filed a lawsuit against Sony and Bungie to hold them accountable for their conduct and the damage that has been done to my reputation and my career. Hold them accountable? Good luck. Sony can't even hold Bungie accountable. I'm confident that the facts are on my side and looking forward to clearing my name through the legal process. Because this is a pending legal matter, there's nothing else I can say about it at this time. Gee williker, Bob. It looks bad. Bungie's being sued, so is Sony. But Chris Barrett is coming from the woodworks to say, hey, I'm not a sexual predator. I promise I'm not preying on women using my power as a leader. But hey, we're here to react to things, right? So let's react. We've got the article that he actually linked on his Twitter by Game Beats. The link will be down below for you, by the way, so you can just kind of read at your own pace. If you don't want to watch the video, which why wouldn't you? I made you laugh. Hopefully. Ex-dev leader Christopher Barrett accuses Sony Bungie of firing him to avoid a $45 million payout. It's always got to do with money. It always does. It's unfortunate you were too focused on what's in your pants to focus what's in the bank. Sorry, Christopher. All right, let's read it. Christopher Barrett was one of the prominent developers who was fired in March 2024 in the wake of the Me Too scandal that hit the game industry. But Barrett, a game artist, filed a lawsuit today against his former employees, Sony Interactive Entertainment and Bungie, alleging they fired him to avoid giving him a $45 million payout he said he was entitled to. We have asked Sony and Bungie for comments. I'm assuming they haven't. Barrett's lawsuit said that defendants deliberately destroyed Barrett's reputation by falsely and publicly insinuating that they had investigated Barrett and found he had engaged in sexual misconduct. Defendants did not care that none of it was true. They had blatant motivations for their brazen scheme, and that was the payout he said he was entitled to under his employment agreement. Yeah, I don't know if I would say blatant when you have a bunch of women coming forward, and it looks pretty bad. It looked pretty bad, man. The lawsuit went on to say the companies were motivated by a need to shift blame for and deflect attention away from their massive business failures, and to achieve those corporate objectives, they were willing to sacrifice Barrett. I'm going to be honest. They were willing to sacrifice a lot more than just Barrett. It's like, oh, they were sacrificing me. Dude, they just laid off like a bunch of other people. It just so happens you were a douchebag, so you were probably the easiest of the picks to toss out in the trash. Like, you know, we got a lot of developers who are actually providing stuff to our game, but then we have this guy who's just a sexual deviant, and he's making our company look bad. Maybe we should just like get rid of him. Yeah, maybe we should get rid of him. While that sounds despicable, Barrett was accused of crossing the line between professional and personal behavior. In the course of his journalistic investigation of the Me Too scandal, Bloomberg interviewed 8 people, including multiple women who reported Barrett, as well as other Bungie employees who were either involved in the investigation or spoke to the women involved. Barrett started his career in the video. Hey, hold on, time out. That's where we stop? That's it? That's all we get? You're doing this investigation or this reports, and we just stop there? That's it? We didn't have a follow-up? We're just immediately just bypassing that? I feel like there's no wonder he linked this, because the so-called interviews and investigation just this journal or article doesn't even cite that. It doesn't even mention it. It's just like, well, it mentions it, but it doesn't do anything further, which makes me feel like, yeah, that's not sus. A long career in ruin. Barrett started his career in the video game industry by creating maps and levels for the game Myth for free as a fan at night after working. Bro, why does this sound like they're really trying to make him sound good? Like, look at this guy. He made free maps. He worked at night. Dude, how could this guy be such a douchebag? No way. No way. Such a nice guy. Such a nice guy. He would never try to look at people's panties. Never. After work, his day job in New York, the lawsuit said Bungie, the maker of Myth, recruited Barrett, and for the next 25 years, Bungie and Barrett had a remarkable ride. The suit said Barrett drove the artistic development of some of the world's most legendary video game franchises, including Halo and Destiny, the latter of which has been nominated for Best on... it didn't win that. Acquired a valuable equity and interest in Bungie and became the driving force and lead designer for Bungie's most important new game project, Marathon. That ride ended abruptly in 2024 when Sony, which had acquired Bungie for $3.6 billion in 2022, acting in concert with Bungie, removed Barrett from his position in charge of developing Marathon and then baselessly fired him, allegedly for cause following a supposed investigation, the lawsuit said. I think it's funny that he's going against Sony. He's not just suing Bungie. Like, if it was just Bungie, he might have a shot, possibly. But my dude is going after Sony. It's like David versus Goliath, except instead of David having like a rock to knock out Goliath, Goliath is like a walking steel pillar, and David has like a stick. That's what he's like. I'm just going to poke the giant steel Goliath. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. Good luck. Barrett alleges he was told about an investigation into his behavior when he was on a mental health leave. He alleges he attended the interview meeting with Sony's legal department, but was not advised to bring legal counsel. And he said he was never shown any of the text messages. Well, I imagine the reason why the text messages weren't shown is they're trying to avoid disclosing who reported. Barrett was never asked whether he had ever engaged in inappropriate sexual conduct, whether he ever sent inappropriate sexual or pornographic materials to coworkers, or whether he ever retaliated against a coworker for rebuffing his advances or discriminated against a female colleague on the basis of her sex. Barrett was not asked about those questions because Barrett did not engage and has not been accused of any such conduct in the lawsuit. That's a lot of Barretts. I feel like we can make a mini game out of this. Every time I say Barrett, take a shot. Tell me in the comment section, how many shots have you taken since we started this? Less than 3 weeks after this interview, Barrett was notified via Microsoft Teams that he engaged in unspecific gross misconduct. Isn't it funny that it's... This is Sony, and they're using Microsoft Teams. Hey, I think it's just ironic. I know that people still do. They use the competitor services if they, like, it's not like Sony has their own teams, but it's kind of funny when they, like, he's suing Sony, and the business is being done in Microsoft Teams, which I use that too. Like, I use Microsoft Teams with my job. Via Microsoft Teams, that he had engaged in unspecified gross misconduct and would be terminated for cause. Defendants refused to explain further and told him that nothing he could say would make a difference, despite never giving him a chance to engage with the allegations in the first place, the lawsuit said. The cause was a vague violation of Bungie's harassment policy, the lawsuit said. Yeah, I don't know what their specific policy is. Again, he might win against Bungie. I don't think he's going to win against Sony. And then they completed the Machiavellian trifecta. What the hell is the Machiavellian? Hold on. What is this? Personal trait is a personality trait by a lack of morality, a focus on self-interest, and a tendency to manipulate others. Oh, so manipulation. Roger that. By widely misleading statements to Bloomberg designed to deflect blame for Sony's poorly performing $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie and delays in video game production, by casting shade on Barrett for his role on Marathon and shift blame for their own public Me Too problems by falsely insinuating that the accusations of severe misconduct had been directed at Barrett when they had not, the lawsuit said. Yeah, I feel like, again, it was at this time, it wasn't just the layoff. There was more than one like group of people being laid off. It just happened to be that, you know, he's an easy target to lay off when you put one on your back. It's crazy how that happens. The lawsuit also said Sony's $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie has been a disaster. I don't disagree. It said Bungie has struggled to meet financial targets, has fallen behind on deadlines, and Marathon, a centerpiece of the transaction, has been the subject of intense public criticism. By terminating Barrett for cause, defendants could save $45 million and pin Marathon issues on Barrett in one fell swoop. I don't know if they can blame him. Well, I mean, maybe they can. He was the main leader on Marathon. So yeah, I mean, I would blame you if it's pretty bad. Bungie's struggles should not have been a surprise. The lawsuit continued. Before the Sony acquisition, Bungie was in a difficult financial position Destiny, the video game franchise responsible for the majority of Bungie's revenue, was not performing as well as Bungie had hoped. Yet Bungie was able to strike a deal with Sony that enabled Bungie's management to retain certain controls post-acquisition. When Bungie thereafter underdelivered, with the marathon delayed, and Bungie's senior leadership in disarray, and with Sony looking to hold Bungie leadership accountable, who did they hold accountable? It was literally the employees who got fired. So who got held accountable? Bungie offered Barrett, who had always been on the creative side and never active in business management, as a sacrifice, the lawsuit said. And the lawsuit said prior to Barrett's termination, Bungie faced considerable public accusation and misconduct towards women. Firing Barrett allowed defendants to falsely pin those issues on Barrett and create a narrative that they were taking harassment issues seriously. After all, if it could fire a creator of their two main franchises, they could fire anyone. Never mind that Barrett had not engaged or been accused of the misconduct at issue, but less than any misconduct, the lawsuit said. Bro, you had 8 people come out and literally point you out. I don't know in what world we live in where we're like, oh, no, don't ignore those guys. Ignore those guys. Don't ignore the ladies. They know nothing. The lawsuit claimed that Barrett had been harmed financially, physically, and emotionally. I'm sure the women who you harassed also felt the same. He has been the subject of harassment and public ridicule, as you should. Has lost friends, as you should, and professional opportunities. Again, you use your power to take advantage of people at your job, you should lose that opportunity to never do it again. And has seen relationships with families strained. His lifelong dream of launching his own video game company, once within reach for a respected designer of multiple legendary games, has been crushed, the lawsuit said. So what it was is, I was a scummy douchebag. I shot myself in the foot. I'm going to take a Hail Mary and see if I get lucky to get any kind of payout at all, because I'm a douchebag and I screwed my life over. Barrett joined Bungie in 1999 after drawing attention as a Myth modder. He was created for work on Myth 2. In those early days, Barrett noted through the lawsuit, colorful language and off-color jokes were common. I mean, yeah, anything in early 2000 was common. Hell, you could play video games and people were dropping the N word and the R word and every word, and it was okay. It was normal. I mean, I've said quite the colorful points of language when I was a kid in that time. Like, it was normal. It was acceptable. It wasn't frowned upon. So what are you talking about? Employees frequently open or refer to things as gay, sexual, mom jokes, and racist jokes that were commonplace. Welcome to video games in the early 2000s. Your mama's a hoe, and you are super gay if you didn't you didn't capture the flag. Bro, why you so gay? Man, you so gay. Like, I'm obviously being very tame, but, we said a lot of things back in the day. Like, I slept with your mom. That's right. Ooh. You like that? Your mom did last night. Yeah, I said there's a lot of things that I could say, but obviously I'm intentionally trying to be tame and respectful. But anyone who gamed in the early 2000s knows exactly what I'm talking about. Nudity was not prohibited. God dang. Bungie's personnel engaged in moonings in the office where employees would pull their pants down and display their buttocks. Practice continued to some degree over the years. It sounds like it was it doesn't sound like it was a corporate company. It sounds like, hey, we're just a bunch of dudes and dudettes. We're gaming, where it's less corporate and more gamers making games. I think that's where we need to go back to, but we just can't, unfortunately. Unless you're like Baldur's Gate, in which case they make games for gamers and they want it to be good games. In Elden Ring, there's a couple companies that don't pull down their pants, but still make good games. Barrett went on to work at Halo, which drew Microsoft's attention, leading to the acquisition of Bungie. He also had prominent roles later, like leading environment artist of Halo 2. He received $200,000 bonus for his role in Halo 3. Then Bungie began plans to spin out of Microsoft. In that deal, Barrett received, starting on October 1st, 2007, Barrett was to receive founder shares equivalent to approximately 2.5% of the newly spun off Bungie. On December 31st, 2010, Barrett signed an employment agreement with Bungie and was granted 336,375 shares of Series B2 preferred stock and 48K shares of common stock. All of these shares were to vest over the following decade, would automatically vest upon a change of control, and any unvested shares would be forfeited if Barrett left Bungie voluntarily, which provided significant incentive for Barrett to stay at Bungie. Bungie made Barrett responsible for the creative and art design for Bungie's next franchise, later named Destiny. Barrett was named co-creator of Destiny alongside Bungie's co-founder Jason Jones. Destiny released in 2014, and it was a big hit, and it reaped revenues for years to come as a live service game. When Destiny 2 was delayed, Barrett was assigned to do a new expansion for Destiny, and he did it on time and under budget. He then helped with Destiny 2, which shipped in 2017, post-launch. He became the Destiny 2 director in charge of the live service team, and his pay was increased later to $240K. The lawsuit said, okay, I like how that this article is doing this like chronological, hey, this is his history. How many of you actually care? I mean, outside of the fact that he used to do Halo and he made Myth stuff, cool. Like, can we get to the part where he was sexually harassing people? Like, I just like, can we get to that? In December 2021, IGN dropped a bombshell article about Me Too problems around sexual harassment at Bungie. Without referring to senior managers by name, the story described a range of bad behaviors as well as poor work conditions such as unpaid crunch time, and that Bungie leadership protected these managers. Bungie CEO Pete Parsons responded to the allegation, saying that the company had taken various initiatives to improve behavior and working conditions. We love Pete. You know, it's kind of funny that Pete said that, looking back, when the most recent layoffs, he took a couple like employees, including one of them was a nice lady, showed them his cars and then fired them the next day. This is why when I continue to meme about Pete Parsons, because he's a douchebag. He deserves to be memed on. I will never stop making a meme out of it because shitty people deserve to be shit on constantly for the rest of their lives. While denying any roles in such behavior, Barrett alleged the lawsuit that he witnessed a very senior Bungie executive texting him and other sexually suggestive material, including lewd photographs, text about his sex life, including graphic descriptions of particular sex acts, and text concerning the appearance of women working for Bungie. Oh yeah, I'm so certain that he was so innocent. I'm so certain that this boy club mentality, and that's what it is. It's the boy club, one of the boys. It was very 2000. The boys, we're one of the boys. Like, you are not innocent. I love people who feign and act innocent when they're not. Like, let's just be honest with ourselves. I know for a fact, you've been around since 2000. You are a sweaty nerd who made maps for Myth for free at night. And you're going to tell me you didn't make inappropriate jokes ever? Not once? GTFO, I don't believe you. The lawsuit alleged the same senior Bungie executive frequently showed up for work drunk, attending group meetings while clearly intoxicated, and engaged in sexual conduct at Bungie sponsored event. I'm sorry. We're getting drunk and we're having sex at sponsored events like TwitchCon, I guess, or whatever. Wait, were they doing the Guardian Con and having sex? Is that what was going on? Oh, well, no wonder. There's no better place for Bungie to meet ball fondlers than at their Guardian Con or their special events. That's what's happening. Ball fondlers are really actually fondling the balls of Bungie. It's canon. It's confirmed. Clearly, when I call people ball fondlers, it's confirmed. They are actually have been fondling Bungie's balls. And it is said one of Bungie's founding members made frequent sexist and racist comments in group settings. Again, these are dudes back from 2000. They never changed. For example, in a leadership meeting, he joked, "A woman's place is barefoot and pregnant," or words to that effect. What does that even mean? Barefoot and pregnant? What, like, do they have like a feet fetish? What the heck does that mean? I get and pregnant, like every woman needs to be pregnant. Like, someone comment down below what the hell that means. or words to that effect. Barrett reprimanded him over email. Ooh, email. I'm gonna. So do you have documentation of that? By the way, you talked about your documentation. Like, I'm assuming he's gonna bring that into the lawsuit because you're making bold claims that you emailed him and you didn't keep that. Like, seriously, the most you did was send an email. This guy's talking about this in your job, and you're just like on your laptop or your phone. Like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna send you an email. I don't like what you're doing. Yeah. I don't like it. Click. How do you like that email? That's right. During an interview, a potential hire told Barrett that Bungie should name a Destiny faction the Rotten Cunt. I'm sorry, but isn't that just Bungie at this point? Isn't that just I'm sorry. It's like the jokes write themselves. Is that just like Bungie's nickname at this point? In the gaming sphere, isn't that just Bungie? The Rotten. Holy crap. Barrett reported the comment to the group evaluating the candidate and insisted that Bungie not hire him. Leadership still hired the candidate. Again, this feels very like, ooh, look at what they did. Look what they did. Here, I'll play devil's advocate. I'm going to say that everything he says is true. Let's just say but I bet everything that people said about him is true too. And here's what probably really happened. The more I read about this and what's going on at Bungie, I feel like the climate was this boys club mentality. There was a bunch of things going wrong, but he was one of the leaders. He was one of the big boys that got caught, and he's upset that no one else got caught. And he's upset that he lost his position. He just he wants everyone else held liable. People who got away with it. They didn't get Me Too'd. And you know what? I think that's fair. And if I was him, I would bring the literally pull down the pants of every scumbag, not CEO, but unless P. Parsons was part of that, but every executive and any douchebag that was part of it, pull their pants down. But I don't see them winning against Sony. You could say Bungie gets sued, but I don't see him winning that much money and not winning against Sony for sure. The lawsuit said a female office administrator shared explicit stories about her sexual exploits, and at least one Bungie employee frequently exposed himself in the office, including by pulling down his pants in the middle of the office and pressing his exposed buttocks against glass overlooking the entire studio. Yep. You know what's funny is that, again, you let it happen. I'm not hearing accountability. He's a leader, and you're telling me he had no power. He couldn't exercise any powers except for sending an email. Ooh, I'm going to send an email to you. Oh, I'm going to teach you a lesson. You're going to tell me that you're a leader and all you can do is send an email? Bro. Despite the Me Too problem, Sony chose to go ahead with the acquisition of Bungie. The lawsuit alleged in January 2022, Barrett signed an agreement that would have paid him in the $45 million range. On January 31st, 2022, Sony announced the $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie. The deal closed on July 14th, 2022. Barrett got a $1.8 million payout, but was due $45.6 million. You know what's crazy? Is that this dude, at almost $2 million, could live a fairly decent life in a decent house. Like, obviously not a mansion or like the biggest house and car, but he could live pretty comfortably compared to most people. But he's over here bitching about not having $4.5 billion. That's why I can't take people who are rich serious. They just don't understand how good they have it. Barrett's lawsuit claimed that Bungie lost its autonomy because the division underperformed Sony's expectation on performance metrics and financial targets. In May 2023, Barrett was publicly revealed as the game director on Marathon. In October 2023, Bungie had a mass layoff around 100 people, cost-cutting ensued, and games such as Marathon were delayed. By February 2025, Sony Games head Jim Ryan... by February 2020... I think this is a typo, and this is supposed to be 24. We're the future! Sony Games head Jim Ryan announced 8% of Sony's game group would be laid off. That was 900 people. Barrett moved to Florida, and while there, he was replaced by Joe Ziegler as game director of Marathon, who was blamed for Marathon's delay. The lawsuit alleged Barrett was renamed franchise game director in effect. He was moved upstairs with nothing to manage, while Barrett's manager allegedly belittled him publicly. Barrett then filed for a mental health leave. Then the investigation began. Weeks later, Barrett was fired, and after his termination in July 2024, 155 more people at Bungie were absorbed into Sony, and 220 more Bungie were eliminated. Here's my thought process. Again, I think we can live in a world where we can agree that this crap happened at Bungie. I think that's true. I also think that he was responsible for a lot of this crap, and he also partaked in it. I don't think he's this innocent little dude like, oh no, I didn't. I was too good to be partake in it. No, I don't believe you. I don't believe it. And I feel like he's upset because no one else got in trouble, and it was him. He's like the kid that got pointed out. He got like, it was him, officer, it was him. But what about the other guys? It's like the group of people who broke in and stole something from a convenience store, and then you got caught, but everyone else got away. But officer, they stole too. They stole. Well, we caught you, so you're going to jail. You're going to jail. And yeah, I have nothing nice to say about Christopher Barrett. Just like I have nothing nice to say about Pete Parsons. These are scummy human beings. And yeah, I'm glad that there is some justice in the world, that these people who are incompetent, who don't know how to lead companies, get what they deserve. Now, I'm just waiting for the rest of the Destiny and Bungie executives to get what they deserve. I feel no empathy for these people. None at all. I feel bad for the ladies who were harassed and treated badly. I do. I feel bad. I don't think anyone should, like, I'm going to be honest. I don't want to see your butt cheeks. I don't want to see you swing your wiener out. I don't want to see none of that, right? No one wants that. So I can feel empathy for the developers. At the same time, why did it last so long? I can feel empathy to a certain extent, but everyone wants to point blame, but no one wants to take responsibility of the fact that you allowed it. You let it continue. No one said anything. Why is it suddenly the Me Too movement happens and then no one wants to take ownership? No one wants to say, hey, this has happened to me. And I know there's a power difference, and I get that. At the same time, it's just like Bungie overall. The developers are being treated like crap. And there was like a time where people were being fired and they said they're scared about being fired. Why are you all still like taking it? Why are you accepting how the game is being made? Like developers saying that we encourage and try to get the higher ups to make a game that the players wanted. Why are you not going on strike? Why are you accepting it? Like you, at some point, you are responsible for not doing anything. You're being complicit. You're keeping the status quo. Do something. I mean, again, I can only have empathy for so long until you have to stand up and make some change. If everyone was complicit, we would not have changes. We wouldn't have, equal rights or the attempt to equal rights. Women wouldn't be able to vote. People would still have slaves. Like, it took people standing up and doing the uncomfortable things, actually making the choices to do things to break the status quo. And I know that's like extreme. These are extreme examples, but like, again, if you want change, you gotta make change. You gotta do something. And so that's where this Christopher Barrett, I don't want to hear from some rich white dude who's like, woe is me. The company was such a crap show. Bitch, you were probably a part of it. You got called out. You didn't do anything to stop it. Oh, I sent an email. Oh, you're really a game changer. You're really helping out the people in the company. I'm getting those emails out there. I don't know. You let me know what you think down below. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for more. As always, don't forget to game out. By the way, we're almost at 1.5K subscribers. We're almost there. Let's get there before the end of the year. That's my goal. Let's get there.